Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My name is Melody, not a real name, and I do come from Zim. I really never thought that my life will turn out like this. I am haunted by the ghost of the woman that I killed, and I am filled with deep regret. I came to South Africa as I was running away because of some of the evil things that I had done back home. So I got messed up from a very young age because I used to be friends with women that were prostitutes, and I knew that with everything that I was doing, I was just losing my soul. And when I was back home, the reason as to why I ended up running away, I was dating this other guy that was a married man. It then happened that I fell pregnant for that man. He told me to have an abortion. So the place where we went and we threw away that fetus, there was a policeman who saw us as we were throwing it away. And then he came to the place where we were parked, and he asked us what we were doing because we were close to this other river. I was scared to walk towards that river because we had heard in the afternoon that there was a hippopotamus that had been spotted there. So I was scared that maybe if we try to go to that river to throw away the baby that I had just aborted, maybe it was going to attack us, maybe if we find that hippopotamus. So we were looking for a place where we could just dump it. And then that was when we were approached by that police officer. He was a little bit drunk, just mildly drunk, not totally drunk. He came to us and he said, "What are you doing here?" And then he saw that we had this small plastic bag that was full, and he said, "Open it up." He then saw that there was a fetus that was inside of that plastic bag. He said, "What are you doing with it?" And my man explained the situation to him, that unfortunately I had a miscarriage and we were scared to go to the hospital and we did not have money. He said, "I am about to arrest you." They spoke and they spoke for a long time until we bribed that police officer. He was the one who even looked for a big stone, for he said, "You are very stupid, the thing that you wanted to do. Don't you know that when you throw it into the river, it is going to float on top of the water? You need to put a huge stone inside so that it can sink to the bottom of the river." After we had given him the money, he then went to the river and he threw it into the river. And then we left, and when I went home, I was really scared of everything that had happened. My mom later on found out that I had done an abortion, in which it was something that she was really against, and she never wanted me to do such a thing. So I was scared. When she confronted me, I then ran away. There was this other truck driver that I was dating. So he used to come to South Africa. After I had spoken with him, this man then said, "If it is okay, I can go with you to South Africa." We then came to South Africa, and then I started to stay with this other girl that was my friend from high school. When I arrived in Johannesburg, I totally had nothing, just a small traveling bag, and I did not want to return back home with nothing. For my mom, she was already waiting for me. So I started working as a maid for rich white families, and I really did not like the things that they used to do to me, seeing that some of the things, it was pure racism. And I kept on working. But then there was this other day when I was working from home, and there was this other guy who stopped his car. He was also staying in that same neighborhood. And then asked me if I was South African. And then I said, "No, I'm from Zim." And then he said, "You are really beautiful. I like your curves. And if you can get a man that can take care of you, those curves, they are going to be so big, so much that you are going to finish me with jealousy." So we started dating, me and that old man. He really had deep pockets, and some of the money that he had, he was getting it from his deals. And then when I was dating this man, he introduced me to other women when we were in the club in Pretoria. That was when I met this girl that I started to be friends with. And then this girl was the one who taught me how to cheat on your blesser without ever getting caught. Me and her, we would go to different clubs when I would pretend as if I am at work and then I'll be sleeping around making money. It then happened that me and this girl, we then went to this other club in Senton. Whilst we were there, that was when I met this blesser. So this blesser was from Zim, but what I did not like about this encounter was that he picked this South African girl instead of me, because when I looked at him, since he was not married, I said, since that me and him, we are both from Zim, we should get married. That is where the jealousness came from. They dated and I saw that their love, it was for real. And in time, I had stopped working. I was now staying with this woman. And the reason as to why I forced myself into her apartment, it was because I wanted to make sure that she breaks up with this man so that I can end up dating him. It then happened when I had returned back from Zim. I had been given some instructions by a traditional healer. What I was supposed to do was that when I was on my periods, when I would be about to change my sanitary pad, I had to take one of her underwears and then I would wipe my private parts, even to go as far as when I would have pooped on my periods, then instead of using a tissue to wipe my back, I would use her panty. And I used to use one of her G-strings which was black in color, and after wiping it out, after I would have pooped, then I would immediately wash it and dry it. After I would have dried it, then I would return it back to her drawer. She never found out that this was what I was doing. So she then started complaining that her blesser was just avoiding her, and I was happy. I kept on feeding her with different charms, because when I returned back from Zim, I had bottles and bottles of different charms that I had been instructed to feed to her, because she was that kind of a lazy girl who never liked to clean or to cook. So I made sure that I never complained. I was always cooking, but after I would have finished cooking, then I would sprinkle the powder, the charms, into her food. So I did not know that these things that I was feeding her, it was just slow poison. That traditional healer then gave me an instruction to at least run away from the province where I was staying. I fled to Cape Town, then Durban, then back to Zim. And the reason as to why I left Durban, this was after she had passed away. It was because one day when I was in my apartment waiting for this other Indian blesser to come so that we can sleep together and he can give me some money to pay for rent, the doors were just being opened and slamming on their own. Even the bedroom light, it was as if there was someone who was playing with it, switching it on and off. And then the next morning, I woke up, I had scratches all over my back. That Indian guy was the one who saw that there was some scratches on my back, and he asked me about it. And I said maybe it was because we had rough sex the last night, but I knew that it was the ghost of that woman. And I would hear sometimes voices speaking with me. I returned back to Zim. So currently, as I am speaking with you, even in my home, there is so many charms, so much that some of them I have even forgotten how to use them. So those are the charms that I use to chase away the spirit of this woman. I just felt jealous over her. As for that man, he was never serious about love. He's just a player. But this I found out after my friend had passed away. For what I did, I regret. I feel so sorry. You have no idea. For her daughter, I try by all means sometimes to just bless her mother, knowing that I am the reason as to why her child passed away, and she is struggling to take care of her grandchild. She is surviving on government grant, but I try by all means to go to Soweto where they stay with some groceries. She just thinks that I am someone that is a nice person, but that is what I did. I am the reason as to why her daughter passed away. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sisters. That was the translation of the message that was sent to me. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.